Alright, I've been asked by a couple people to do a quick video on my particular pedal board setup, just to go over what kind of pedals I'm using, what the signal flow is, and I can also include a review of my amp setup real quick. Anyways, alright, this is just a pedal train pedal board system here. You ever seen pedal train? They're made by Pro Stage Gear. It's an aluminum chassis with a bunch of space in between. You can put Velcro down, and as you can see, you can hide a bunch of stuff underneath the pedal board and cram it in. And because it's on an angle, a lot of that stuff, you know, will be hidden for the most part, if you can see that there. Anyways, so the first pedal I have is a Boss FV-500H. It's a high impedance setup. My main guitar goes in here, goes on the output, and as you can see right here, it's been modified. You see one of my other videos on YouTube. What I did is I put a buffer circuit inside of this pedal, post volume, feeding the rest of this pedal board setup. The main reason is because of my guitar setup here, which is a 1971, original 1971 Telecaster Deluxe. These old pickups don't like volume pedals. There's even a buffer circuit in here, so I have two of them. It's a buffer circuit, and then going into this pedal board, and then this volume pedal, and then another buffer circuit going out. That's to try and combat, when I do volume swells, that's to try and combat high-end tone loss. The reason I have it set up this way is, if you go over here and take a look at my amp setup, I got pretty lucky here. I don't know, I'm normally not a fan of Mesa Boogie. I mean, I highly respect their engineering, but I don't like a lot of their metal tones. I scored this pretty rare Mesa off eBay about 10 years ago for a steal, about 200 bucks. It's a Mesa Boogie Mark II-B Coliseum 300. I believe they only made about 300 of these amps. As you can see, it's a single channel Mesa, one input foot switch. It's got a volume, treble, bass, middle. It's got a lead channel, but it's really just in parallel or series really with the one channel input. It's not like you switch channels for a clean well, I guess you can switch channels for clean rhythm, but it's only one single input. It's got the standard graphic EQ, input output. It's got full power, half power. This is not simulclass. This just really, it's a pentode triode mode switch. And then the reason why these guys are so rare, let me see if I can get some light back here. You may not be able to see that. Let me see if I can get some light. 1 second. Be right back. Okay, here we are again with some light. As you can see, there's a lot of tubes in this thing. It's 6L6 output tubes, and I'm running Svetlana's in here. And here's the serial number if you can see it. It's a K320. I don't know if you can make that out. Actually, I looked up online today. I think the K series, they only made of maybe a few, like 75 or 50 of these versions. I'm not 100% sure. It's got effects loop and slave output. It has not been modded. You can see there's no reverb here. It has not been modded by Mesa to add an effects loop gain. Here is the output transformer. It's massive. Or actually, I'm sorry, that's the power supply transformer. It's the same power supply used in the Mesa Boogie 400 Plus. It's a massive, massive amp. This thing will do about 300 watts clipped. I think it'll do about 175. I have it over biased. I like to run it hot. I modified the circuit in here. Instead of using Mesa standard fixed bias, I put a variable bias and I cranked it up. I like that this way the amp sounds a bit colder. Anyways, the whole point of this is I run the amp kind of old school and turn the preamp quite a ways up, and then use the master volume about midway. And what that allows me to do is just use this for all my main distortion sound. All just comes from this volume pedal here. And I really like this volume pedal. Another reason is it's got a minimum volume setting down here, which allows me to go from clean to distorted instead of off to distorted. Or if you change that level, you can set it depending on what's going on. The next setup it goes into, I have these two old effects here on a true bypass effects loop. Rather than modify these circuits individually for true bypass, I left them alone as the original intent and just put a true bypass looper in here. So the signal goes from here into the Boss chorus ensemble, which is an original Boss chorus ensemble. It's one of the best chorus pedals ever made. The only thing about it is it's got to be plugged into 120 volts AC. And then this is an original Mutron Phasor, which used to be actually Bob Seger's. Kind of a funny story how I got that. Anyway, so signal goes from here, when this is engaged, it goes from here into this pedal, back into the looper. The next thing in the stage is this crazy pedal from Pigtronix called a Polysaturator. I use this mainly for insane sustain or a different level of distortion, like a fuzz distortion, to give me some different overtones, because as I mentioned before, this thing's already heavily, you know, distorted with the way the amp is set up. But sometimes I can just turn this back and then turn this guy on and give me different sustains or volumes and stuff like that. This pedal is I believe 24 dB of gain. This pedal is completely insane. It's a really cool stuff. Check out some Pigtronix. Over here is my tuner. It's the Seasitronic Polytune. It's the guy that you can tune all strings at once. You know, or not tune all strings at once, but you can get an idea of what's going on with all the strings at once. Let me see if I can give you guys a quick demonstration here. Alright, so here we go. If you strum all the strings, it shows me all 6 at once, and you can see which ones are high or low depending on, you know, what's going on. So for example, that string's quite a bit out. I can just go right to that string and check it out that way. Then I just have the Boss RC2 loop station. I just put a little bit of a modification here to allow me, instead of having to double tap the pedal, you put this little foot switch in, you can single tap it. It's basically, there's a jack out here for external foot switch that Boss sells, but you can hand wire one of these guys in here. This pedal does have a pretty big digital or power supply hiss on it when you don't use the Boss power supply. I'm using a 1-spot. I'm going to try and work on a circuit to do some better power supply filtering to hopefully get rid of that, because you know, all these pedals here, this one, and this one are run off the 1-spot underneath. These two are run AC power. Oh yeah, I forgot this little guy here. This is just a in and out switch for my Roland Space Echo. This is a big part of my sound. This is my pride and joy, really, the Space Echo here. This is put on the effects loop of the Boogie, which is post EQ and pre-master volume. And because the preamp is set so high, here I distort the heck out of this thing to tape. And it gives me a very pretty cool, warm, analog type sound in addition to the tube sound. I really, really love it. This guy's my baby. This is a standard, or not a standard, I built this 4x12 cabinet. It's got warehouse guitar speakers. I forget the models, they're a mixed batch. This cabinet is 400 watts RMS. I needed to have a little bit of headroom over this Boogie because I had blown up my previous Eminent speakers that were in here. I want some warehouse. Check out Warehouse Guitar Speakers. They're an American company, I believe in Tennessee. Don't quote me on that. But they make some amazing high-end guitar speakers that are really comparable to the standard greenback, or I would say an upgrade, comparable to Weber's, things of that nature. Anyways, got any questions? Leave me a comment, and thanks a lot.